Hey everyone, Be Schedule Gaming Ed here with a impromptu stream because, well, long story short, I had someone on my YouTube channel comment on one of my Grim Dawn Reign of Terror videos asking for a build guide. And so I logged on to Grim Dawn earlier and I was planning on doing a build guide. And so I said, let me go log in. And for some reason, I thought, you know what? Before I go and do a build guide, let me go and see if maybe there's a chance they did a patch update, right? And lo and behold, here we are. I could not believe it. There was actually a patch, and let's see. The patch came out on May 19th, so just 10 days ago, apparently. And I haven't tried it out. I haven't tested it out. I've glanced at maybe 5% of it. And I saw a couple of things, and let's just say I'm hyped. Now, there are two patches, actually. There's 0.7.0.0, that's the big one, right? Anytime it goes up 0.1, we were at 0.6, 0.5, 0.3, that's huge. Those are typically big patches, right? We've also got a 0.7.0.1, which is a hotfix. It's much, much smaller. You can see here, there's quite a bit to go over. And when we go over here, and this is on their Discord, if you're curious about that, you can look it up on the Reign of Terror wiki. And, actually, maybe I'll just put it in the description and whatnot, just so it's easier for people to reach. But so this is the easiest way to find patch notes. I've noticed that the websites, the wikis, are just not up to date. They're just way behind. So I had to look a little bit to find this, and here we are. And what's the first thing we see here? Right? What is the first thing? Before we do that, where's Blizzard at? Take notes, okay? This is a mod. And every time they add something into this mod, I'm just even more blown away by the effort being put in. Added Act 6. Access via portal opened by Tyrael after defeating Baal in the Worldstone Chamber in Act 5. They added another act. Added Trial of the Ancients. New endgame survival event with faction awards replacing Shattered Realm. Thank you. So I just have to say, I didn't hate the Shattered Realm, but I didn't really care for it that much. I really didn't. I did it several times, and I found myself just not going back to it. It just didn't feel like the payoff was that good. It wasn't as enjoyable or exciting as even Rifts in Diablo 3. So, access by talking to Ram and Shattered Conclave after completing Act 6 campaign on Hell difficulty. So you must complete Act 6 on Hell. So it ain't something easy to reach, right? But it's the end game. So I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely excited about something fresh. So here we go, right? Act 6, added terror event. Keys have 15% chance to drop from Act 6 bosses on Hell difficulty. Access via ancient Haradrim device in the Tower of Haradrim. Wow. Okay, I don't know what that is exactly, but it sounds interesting. Add 3 new hidden Uber bosses in Act 6. Excellent. Added Goblin King boss into Hideout of the Thieves and extended the map Goblin level. So they added the Goblin King box, added 3 new mercenaries. This is straight up just content. This is a whole new act. That alone is hype. But there's more. There's quite a bit more, okay? I'm not going to go through every single little thing in detail. I'm going to point out the things that I notice that I feel are pertinent and valuable. I can tell you that what I have done also is just very, very briefly, literally for just a few minutes, I did install the patch and I did log in to see the differences, and there's some very substantial tweaks they've made. So stay tuned for build guides for Fist of the Heavens Paladin and Hammerdin, of course, because everyone loves Hammerdins. So those are the two things I'm going to be doing. Currently, I've been doing Fist of the Heavens, if you've watched me. I haven't played in probably about a month. I'd say I was just not feeling as much. It was getting kind of a little bit stale playing by myself, and the grind seemed a little difficult. Even my assassin, sorceress, I'd kind of given up on. Not giving up, but just lost the steam. But anyways, we're going to see more of that too. I'm hyped for sure. Okay, so reduction of monster defense. Okay, that's a global change. Lower damage absorb. Now you should be able to just power 30 feet and off something and prevent monster heal. Okay, so so they're doing a little bit of nerfs, right, on the monsters here. There's some specific changes here to some of the bosses, right, and Dariel. Some things you might notice makes things a little bit easier or a little more difficult. About this poison strike here, chance to petrify, slight boost in stats. Ice Orb now deals health damage. You're going to see there's quite a few changes to Crushing Blow here, some additions, some nerfs to different things, different items, different skills. High Council members right now deals percent health damage, so this makes them scale more. That's what that means. It makes them scale. They're going to do percentages instead of flat amounts. So they scale more, which means that for people of really, really high health values, this is kind of a buff for monsters. And for people who have lower health values, well, I should say a nerf. And for people who have lower, this is technically a buff for people with lower health values. So that means instead of just getting one-shotted, now you're going to do percentages. So I'm all for that. I think that's fine. Diablo's laser, his fire breath, does help present damage. Finger Mage, slightly increase the homing bolt. Oblivion Knights, damage reduced from the Iron Maiden from 15% to 3% with 7, so they nerfed that. So there's definitely some nerfs here. Okay, standardized proc chance for Bale, Russian meters. Okay, that's fine. Decrease attack. Okay, thank God. Nerf the cows. For God's sakes, they were ridiculous after the last patch. I thought they overdid it a bit. So maybe they're backpedaling a little bit here, which is fine. Fix loot tables on hidden Ubers and world bosses. Okay, thank you. Excellent. World boss specifics. Decrease the resistance. Slightly easier early on. So I think they want to make it a little bit easier earlier in the game while scaling it up a bit later to make it more challenging. But at the same time, if we're going to have a new act with this new trial and hidden Ubers, that those should be really the challenge. Those should be the hardest parts of the game. It shouldn't be impossibly difficult for someone to get through Hellmount, for example. It should be tough, but not really, really hard, where people get discouraged and not want to do it anymore. That's just my 2 cents on it, right? 4 new Goblin types. Chance to duplicate on death. Nice. Okay, Black Widow, increased HP, add a chance to drop Rainbow Passive. Nice, so you can use more of those. Okay, classes and skills. So, Devotion cap, increased Devotion cap to 99. What was it at before? I'm at 80 right now. I can't remember the exact point count it was up to before, but that's an increase. All devotions have been upgraded to the standards. Okay, so I'm not gonna really. I'm gonna skim through this part, the Grim Dawn classes, just because in this mod specifically, I have focused on the Diablo classes. I know that the recommendation, generally speaking, is to pick at least one Diablo class. I've been doing 2 just because I really like Diablo 2 a lot, and I'm never going to get another chance to be able to mix classes like this, like I'm able to in this version of the game. Certainly not with D2R, so I've been doing that. The Grim Dawn classes I feel a little bit weaker, but to each their own, right? So anyone who wants to do that, that's fine. But there seem to be some buffs, some pretty nice buffs, right? Increased damage here. Soldier's pretty solid, just all around. You could probably mix that with just about anything, just to get a class a little more tanky, a little more damage, right? Demolitionist, if you like doing ranged, and it seems like they've increased damage. Now with bows, now with javelins, increased fire damage, weapon damage, increased damage, right? So there seems to be some buffs across the board. Occultists, I think that's can be a pretty popular choice a lot of the time to mix. I've read about some builds that are pretty strong with that. Nightblade, if you like that play style. It's not personally mine. Arcanist, another one that can be actually pretty good with the type, depending. If you do elemental side damage, like if you do Sorceress and Arcanist, can be really powerful. Same with Paladin. Shaman is a class, my first Grim Dawn class character when I played the original game was a shaman soldier. I just liked the lightning and the elements along with the soldier class, so that was pretty cool and fun. Inquisitor, not a class that I played, not super familiar with. Necromancer, no, I've only played the classic Necromancer in the Grim Dawn Reign of Terror mod, so I haven't played that. I'm not super familiar, but looks like I'm seeing a lot of increased damage. Increased, so some minor little debuffs here, like decreased life skill, but generally speaking, most increases across the board. Oathkeeper, another class I'm not super familiar with, but again, added reflect damage, added reflect, increased damage, increased. I'm not seeing any decreases really very much. Okay, Reign of Terror classes. The goal is to make every class more self-reliant and allow for more viable build combinations. For example, by adding resist reduction to classes other than just Paladin and Necromancer. That's interesting. Added attack rating to various skills of classes which didn't have means to obtain AR from skills before. That's a great change right there, because I gotta tell you, with certain types of skills, I would just be missing a lot, and it was really difficult to get the AR up unless you used items and or runes to buff that. Okay. Take mana cost for various abilities. Lower the weapon damage percentage on almost every attack that is shotgunning potential. So, Fist of the Heavens, Shockwave, Multi-Shot. Okay, makes sense. Okay, Amazon. Flat piercing damage, AR, remove weapon damage from bolts, increased lightning damage. So the increased elemental will remove the weapon damage or decreased it usually. Increased lightning fury now added a modifier. Fragments no longer deal weapon damage. Okay, that's fine. Lightning damage again. Multi-shot lowered weapon damage, increased flat piercing. Okay, guided arrow, adjusted crushing blow. There's definitely some changes to crushing blow here. Gains a new ability at rank 10. Okay, new Amazon ability. The Amazons have recovered their ability to communicate with their deity. Will provide various boons to her followers through sightless eye, inner sight, add elemental resistance. Okay, so this is what they were mentioning earlier about the elemental resistance. So if you wanted to use your Valkyrie along with maybe your lightning fury, then you could do more damage there. Okay, slightly reduced mana costs, mainly early on for all traps. Okay, Lightning Sentry added a Chaos Transmuter. Dense Sentry now adds a new ability to Lightning Sentry instead of spawning a different version of Lightning Sentry. Okay. Slightly weaker. Adds a new ability for Lightning Sentry instead of spawning a different version. Okay. Any Fire Blast? No. New Assassin ability. Sentry. Claw Mastery also gives... Okay, I've noticed that with the Masteries they added that too, because I saw in the Sorceress earlier when I glanced that added intel, so that's pretty good. Okay, Barbarian Bash. Okay, Tremor, increased flat. These skills kind of... I hope they made them a little better. They didn't seem that good to me. Leap. Leap added a cooldown leap attack. Okay, Frenzy added flat magic damage. Increased the charge levels, added physical and bleeding damage. Whirlwind lowered the weapon damage, increased the flat physical damage. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. It doesn't scale as well with that. Okay, Shout decreased defense value, added mana reserved. I might need to consider whether or not Shout is worth using anymore at this point. I'm gonna have to look at that and see if the values are worth it. Okay, Grimoire changed resistance, we're now reduced. Change the resistance reduction time, now reduce physical magic, vitality, and chaos. Gains a new ability rank 20, no longer fears monsters, a chance to confuse or petrify. Okay. Added mana reserve for battle command, that's fine. Small tweak in life and mana balance, sure, that's fine. Ignited weapons, new ability modifier to double throw. Okay. Alright, seems fair. Druid Maul added this, hunger, decreased. So I've noticed they've had several new secondary skills. One of them was for Fist of the Heavens, and I'm very, very happy about it. Increased the damage quite a bit. So I'm pretty excited about that. Increased damage, secondary modifier, further increased damage. So instead of doing like the synergies like they had before in Diablo 2, they added secondary modifiers. So I like that. New transmutant, okay, increased damage, werebear, defense, rope attack rating, volcano. Added elemental resistance reduction, nice, okay. Grizzly chance to taunt. Okay, not bad. Grants elemental damage. Nice, okay. Paladin. Charge has a 3-second cooldown. Okay. So this isn't as bad as you think if you have some modifiers that reduce this. When I was in game, this is one of the first things I noticed. I tried it, and it's not that bad. It's not that noticeable. It's still very much worth using. Charge is really, really good. Just a mobility move. So I would still put a point into it, regardless. Anytime you're a paladin, I would put a point into it. Hits all monsters in a path, so this is actually interesting because there's an animation associated with that too. So we're going to look at that eventually when I cover my build guides. Deals more damage at impact point compared to the ones charged through. Yeah, and that's partly where the animation comes in. Purging Fire, new secondary skill for charge. Leaves a trail of holy flames to burn away the demons and undead that it stands in. So charging it might be more viable. Might be something worth trying at some point if you have the right items. Okay, Fist of the Heavens. There's some really nice changes here. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. Okay, I probably should have done that sooner. Okay, change the template to uncouple the fragments from the main impact. Okay, so okay. Now sometimes drops multiple projectiles, more common, and this is something I tried out and I was like, wow, this looks freaking awesome. Honestly, they made it so much better. Big boost in damage, main projectile. Shard of the Heavens. This is a separate skill modifier. This is the secondary one, so you have to have Fist of the Heavens to use this. Okay, determines the number and damage of the fragments and boosts the main projectile damage. Flat damage listed is the damage the fragments deal. So it's very, very cool, and like I said, when I do the build guide, I'll go over that in more detail. Okay, small tweak in damage, Blessed Hammer. I didn't see if that's a increase or a decrease, so see, hopefully an increase. Smite now has a built-in chance for Crushing Blow. That's pretty significant for Smiterdins. No longer works at range of the... I can't believe that worked at range at all. Holy Shield, defense value lowered. So it seems they reduce defenses, but increase damage. Holy Fire Free Shock, increased aura damage, increased damage buff. Small tweak in regeneration should now offset sacrifice in early levels. Okay, good. So you can use this couple when you're leveling. Cleansing fixed the duration reductions, and now actually decrease the duration of most dots except for Fire Cold Lightning Dot. It will increase the reduction for those dots by the amount listed. Combine Cleansing with Resist to get bigger effect of the reductions. Okay, so they want you to use both. Okay. Sacrifice, remove the Celestial effect. Changed it into a charged default attack that decreases health regeneration. Alright. Thorns, increase retaliation bonus to make it more viable, most likely. That's it for Paladin. Classic Necromancer, amplify damage. Can no longer go above 100% physical resist reduction. That makes sense. Okay, I'm surprised it could go that. That would be kind of stupid. Added an armor reducing effect at later skill ranks. Okay, to make up for it, you can reduce armor now. Bone Armor, charge template to flat absorption amount for fixed duration. Same as they did with the Cyclone Armor for the Druid. Grants magic damage. Nice. I like these touches. Life Tap, remove the magic damage bonus. It is moved to Bone Armor. That makes a lot of sense. Now also reduces enemy healing. That's great actually because it can be really annoying when enemies heal pretty fast and pretty quick. So I'm good with that. Iron Maiden now also boosts retaliation damage. Okay. Teeth lowered weapon damage to 3%. Increase the base damage. Okay, sure. Teeth is not that good anyways. Poison Dagger, meh. Skeletal Mages. Okay, now only shoot magic and poison. Don't so that benefit from lower better from lower resist. Okay. Added a transmutator that changes the mages back into elemental only, so you can choose which type you want. Okay, I like that. I like the option. Dim Vision, fumble effect now scaled with skill rank. Added attack rating reduction. Confuse, now has a chance to confuse monsters. Reduce the duration of the confuse. Now has a chance to make monsters trip on their feet. Wow, I wonder what that looks like. Now lowers enemy defense. Bone Spear normalizes the scaling of the damage. No longer an insane, non-intended jump around rank 30. Okay. I didn't know about that. Increased mana costs. Sure. Bone Spear, tweak damage and scaling. Slightly poison over lowered weapon damage. Sorceress. Okay, there's some pretty interesting ones here. Firebolt Ball. Increased damage a bit to make it more endgame viable. Mainly noticeable at higher skill ranks. Ice Bolt Blast, Glacial Spike. Same thing. Frozen Orb, increased damage. Hydra, small reduction in damage. 2 new transmutators. Turned it into a Cold Spike Spitting Hydra or a Chain Lightning one. Nice. Very nice. Lightning plus Chain Lightning. Increased damage. Chain Lightning is now a secondary skill to Lightning. Okay, fair, fair. Increased mana cost for Energy Shield as it was too easy to counter. Now it's more of a trade-off to balance your skill points with. I might have to look at that. Warmth now gives intelligence. Nice. Shiver Armor, increased retaliation bonus. Chilled Armor, Ice Bolts now also use retaliation damage. Increased cold damage slightly. Cold Piercing. Secondary skill, debuff to Frozen Armor line. Frostburn effects on enemies and has a chance to ignore a part of enemy cold resist. Okay. Meteor added a secondary modifier. Overall, it should do more damage, but now also more justified by requiring a 40-point skill investment. Okay, over a 20. So it should do more, but you need to have a lot of plus to skills for it to do that much more. Maybe it was too powerful. Thunderstorm, defense reduction, increased damage, pathology. Okay. Can no longer go higher than 100% resistance reduction. Scaling effect added for fumble. Immunology, new secondary ability for pathology. Okay, pathology. Damage and further reduces enemy resist. Okay. So you have to use this to make it go past the 100, essentially. Pathology is for single target. You would just target an enemy and then it would make it... Well, you were doing it mainly for this. It's pretty substantial, for single target. For bosses, it's really good. Firewall, damage reduced by roughly 5%. So Firewall got nerfed a little bit. All right, fair enough. Crushing Blow, generally lowered most values of Crushing Blow and in some cases removed across many items. It should now always be very useful to have and no longer your main source of damage. Okay. Yeah, I can see that because I wasn't using Crushing Blow until not that long ago and it's honestly really busted. So I can understand them wanting to move away from that just a bit. Okay, Ruins adjusted pet bonuses, most notably pet speed. It was getting too easy getting insane pet speeds. Okay, new unique set out. Hundreds of new unique items which would drop only in Act 6 or in the Trial of Ancients. Nice. New rare items. You can find these craft items in the survival event, recognizable by the dark red name. New magic items, new prefixes and suffixes. Okay. New faction items earn the Trial of the Ancients by defeating waves to unlock powerful gear. I'm very curious about this Trial of the Ancients. New components, 31 in total. Special components for either metal or head slot to compete with rainbow facets and runes. Convert or alter a specific skill. Wow. Okay, for example, changes Whirlwind into an ice version that freezes monsters or turns Volcano into a poison. Wow, that is sweet. Blizzard, where are you at? Where are you at? Do you want me to take notes for you? You can pay me and I'll take notes for you. See this kind of customization? That's what we need. New Uber loot. Act 6 Ubers can now drop Uber gear. Relics, hidden Ubers, tier 3 Ubers in it, and weapon shoulders from the final Terror event boss. Okay, something new to aim for. Rainbow Facets. Remove the 1% max resist. They now give 1% max resist to their damage type. Okay. Monsters and frequency reduction and number of stats from most. The most essential stats have remained. With a small nerf, also small increase in drop rate. Specific for the Eldritch Belt now uses armor prefix chain circlet. Okay. Rare circlets. Drop them. Endgame sets no longer transmutable. This goes for mythical class sets. The new 0.6.5.3 sets and Palatia set. Drop chance has been increased slightly. Mythical class sets. World bosses now have a lower chance of dropping mythical class sets, but still can. Instead, they have increased chance of dropping the higher end of socketed gear. Hidden Ubers now have an increased chance of dropping mythical D2 class sets. Standardize the stats to be more equal to 1 in terms of that. Okay. Triangle set added in the intended skill modifiers for Bone Sphere and Poison Nova. Griswold's adjust the skill for Blessed Hammer. Okay. Good. Yeah, this is the end game right here. I have some of the set, but none of it's mythical. Minor adjustments. Okay. Sure. Okay. Alright. Wow, that's a big difference right there. It used to be a lot lower than that. Right? Okay. Deepest Void set, sure. Increased damage to some Ruin Word auras. Doom is awesome. Okay, Mythical Volcathos, Steel Rin, Demon Machine. Say Crushing Blow. David's Glory. I'm just looking for any items that I know I use that it's going to affect me a lot. No. Sword Guard. A one-handed sword. Modifier to teleport. What the hell does that do? Call to Arms, Rune Word, added Cascade, Black Oak, Storm Shield, sure. Dragon Scale, Lance Guard, Tooth Row, Duriel Shell. Added Holy Freeze. Dang, nice. That's cool. Scalder's Iron, yeah. Iron Pelt, Crow, Storm Spike, Heart Carver. Paladin Trinkets now also give +2 to Paladin skills. Nice. Reaper's Toll. Again, I'm just looking for things that stand out. Magic damage. Pale. Okay. Yeah, the UI looks a lot different and I like it a lot. Those are my first impressions. Okay. Stirs key into Tomatown Portal, which has to be used together with Wart's Leg. Okay, so they changed that completely to open the cat level. So, Tomatown Portal, should get that from the goblins. Wart's Leg, okay. New effects for a number of skills, cool, good to know. Bathing. Slightly reduce map size and monster death. Oh, come on, really? I love the Bloody Foothills. Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that? Okay, so that's it for that. And then we'll just go over really the hotfixes here. Reduce chance to knock down. Fix that is not working with Heaven's Brethren set. Okay, Blessed Hammer. Okay, poison damage. See bonus to 2-piece. Flatmatic damage here. Fix the modifier. Placed. Fixed. Cold damage, one-handed. Doom. Increased it on. Two-handed. Okay, that makes sense. Fragments. Talwash's Blizzard modifier. Reduce life leech. Fix sleeper. Increase calkings at. Really? Really? Come on. He's already a pain in the ass. Are you serious? Okay. Mouthfeel. Is that X6 spoilers? Okay. God damn it. Size of Act 6 Warlord's Quest Trigger, Book of Chronos. Okay. Well, 30 minutes we've done on this already. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here soon. stay tuned for some build guide videos. I'm gonna go over it more in detail, you know, just in the game for my paladin. Okay. Impale, Fixed Hunger, Phoenix Strike. Sure. Okay, Bone Spirit, weapon damage. Lower the cast speed. Lower the cast speed on them and attack speed. Really? Just because I felt like it was too easy. Small increase in splash. Okay. Chain lightning. I want to try that now. The Hydra. That's very cool. They changed it. Oh, you know what that means? If I switch the Hydras to lightning, just like my traps are, I wouldn't need the Fire Mastery. I could save a lot of points from that. Interesting. I need magic damage. Increase mana costs here. Okay, resistances. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. This is hype. This seriously. If you guys, if anyone is interested in playing this game, if you've been hesitating, this is just look. This is 0.7. This isn't even. This game's not done. And look at what they're doing. They're adding more content. They're adding hopefully a better endgame. It sounds like it. Endgame survival event with faction rewards. So it seems pretty interesting, pretty good. They keep adding more items. They add more customization. There's a lot to this game. I'm telling you. I've said this before, and I'm just going to reiterate it again. This game, this mod, has serious potential even after Diablo 2 Resurrected comes out. You know, there's a place for this game. There is. So if you like what you see, you know, if you're interested in more, then leave a like, consider subscribing for more content, and leave a comment. You know, I mean, the reason why I discovered this right now is because a viewer on my YouTube channel asked for a guide. So that's why I decided to do it. So, and that's what made me think about, well, maybe I should go look before I make a build guide. So anyways, you know, when people request and people ask, that's how I know that there's interest there. And if there's interest, then I'll do it. You know, if there's not, then I'm not going to. Like if I upload these videos and it's getting like no views, there's no interest, then I'm not going to invest hours of my time into that. My time is valuable, you know. But, you know, I do like this game. It's fun. This content definitely makes me want to play again, especially with the changes. So I'll be doing that. Well, thanks so much. And, you know, stay tuned for more videos this upcoming week. And I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.